So many people are doing work on marine protected areas in the country, and they have followed our example. And so there are now probably 1,500 marine protected areas in the country.
The first main objective of establishing this marine sanctuary is just to reproduce more fish for fishermen. Tourism is not part of the objectives of establishing this thing, but it just right on. So why not?
We need visitors and we need guests to provide the livelihood, to keep the economy going so that these values can be received by the community and all the people in the industry. Everyone should be involved.
The idea for the Grid Expedition series actually started from a question. What would it be like for us to travel with experts in their field? We have been lucky enough to have 2 economists and one of the leading marine biologists in the country guide us through this journey, and that's really what they're doing. They're guiding us through the waters of Dumaguete, Sumilon, Apo, and Siquijor. They're introducing us to the communities that they themselves are claiming are so important to marine conservation.
We're boarding here at Sumilon Beach. This is our dive boat. We're loading up. I'll be giving a briefing on the dive boat, exactly what we'll be doing.
One of the roles that I have in this expedition is to guide the teams through this area where a lot of marine conservation efforts have happened, especially the ones directed towards coral reefs, to give some perspectives about the history of the science that has gone into proving or disproving whether these efforts have worked. These protected areas can actually help each other through the dispersal of the babies that the fish produce.
I started the first marine protected area on the island of Sumilon, which is part of Cebu Island, and did experiments for 10 years.
Right, so buddy teams will be me and Paco, Carmen, Rene, Tina, and Mary, all right?
Protection through marine reserve, what we call the no-take marine reserve, meaning that the marine reserve is off limits to fishing. And so that reserve really builds up the biomass of fish. And this biomass of fish actually moves out of the protected area and goes to the fishing sites of fishermen, thus increasing their fish catch.
This marine protected area plays a significant role in the history of marine conservation in this region. It was established in 1974 and was protected from fishing for almost 10 years. Unfortunately, in the early 80s, protection failed, and all of that buildup of biomass went down in a matter of weeks to months. That decline was due to intensive fishing. So fishers were again allowed to fish inside the protected area, but also intensively outside. And that really drove everything down, abundance, biomass, species diversity. The lesson that was learned there was even a decade of protection, all of that buildup can be lost within a very short time frame. Back in their time in the 80s, they always suspected that the fish population that recovered inside these MPAs can actually benefit other areas through larval dispersal. But they didn't have the tools to prove that. They didn't have the tools. It wasn't yet the age of DNA analysis. Finally, there's incontrovertible proof. Recently, we published a paper validating that these protected areas can actually help each other through the dispersal of the babies that the fish produce. Sumilon, it's an uninhabited island. Nobody lives here. So there was no local community to look after the marine protected area. If you want to sustain marine protection in this country, you need the support of a local community. Examples of marine protected areas that came later were supported by local communities, and that's probably why the later examples were quite successful.
I started fishing here when I was 8 years old. We have different kind of fishing gears and fishing activities, but the way we fish here is we use dynamite fishing, we use moruami fishing, and we also use kind of cyanide. We call that tubli. If you are a fisherman, your objective is just to catch fish, and you don't care what's happening behind.